Welcome everyone to the 2022 STEAM Buying Guide hosted by PCS Adventures. I'm Michelle and this is Erika, and we are really excited to have you with us today. We'll talk just briefly about STEM and STEAM and what that continues to mean to us at PCS, and then spend most of the webinar talking about a bunch of different solutions if you are looking to bring STEM and STEAM to your program. But to kick us off today, we wanted to address this question, and maybe Erika, you can go first. Why STEM and STEAM, especially in this moment?
I think it's good to consider both approaches. As I mentioned before, I have a lot of experience applying STEAM, and I did
Mm.
find that with my students that I've gotten to work with, both when I was in the classroom or when I've gone to do pilots with PCS Adventures with our programming, it does become an approachable way to get more kids interested in what would become traditional STEM.
So for the next portion, we're going to launch into looking at one of our newest STEM or STEAM programs for 2022. This is Dirt Camp. So Erika, first of all, can you tell us what does it mean for Dirt Camp to be an enrichment program?
Sure. Enrichment programs are 12 1 hour lessons to be offered to up to 30 students, and all supplies that are required to lead the program are included, right down to the last colored pencil.
That's awesome. So what is Dirt Camp specifically all about?
Yeah, so our enrichment programs are aligned around different themes. This one happens to be around everything dirt. So, what's kind of fun is even we were talking about this during the pandemic. There's been so many uh, virtual activities. Everything is online, so a lot of the inspiration behind this becoming an enrichment program was getting kids back to something really fun, playful, and especially tactile. So kids will get to explore where dirt comes from, how is it formed, what are the different animals and different insects that live under the ground, what do plants need to grow and survive, and even kind of designing and building their own farm. So there's a lot of fun and a lot of entry points for this program.
This looks great. I know at the same time, you've been working equally hard on our podcasting curriculum. This one is for the older students in upper elementary and middle school, and it's in the Discover series. Can you tell us how that's a little bit different than an enrichment program?
A Discover series can be set up more like a lab, but it does require a little bit more independence from the students. But we have the full set of equipment. So you can see here, this is an example of one of our setups with microphones and different filters. And there's even an isolation shield, that larger piece that sticks up. It all integrates into kind of these nice mini labs or stations.
Absolutely. So tell us about kids that go through this program. What does that look like for them?
Yeah, so the first half of the program is really uh, offering a hands on way to acquire skills so that they can be independent for the second half of the program, where they, as a group, create their own full length podcast as a team.
For the rest of our webinar, we're going to be talking over a bunch of different products.
So, Michelle, with all of your experience as the director of development at PCS, can you tell us about these particular programs? What do you mean by grab and go? What are some of the advantages of these particular programs?
Totally. So for these first ones, we wanted really tried and true, bulletproof. Anybody could come, grab these off the shelf, glance through the lessons, and in 5 minutes you're going and your kids are having a great time and a really valuable learning experience. So we've got some brick lab programs here that all come with awesome reusable materials. And then we have our simple machines that uses a more advanced set of building manipulatives, but all of them are really popular. Especially you can see Brick Lab Core here. Apart from our drone programs, this was our number one most popular product of the previous year.
Uh, it looks like they're reusable and expandable. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so everything in our Brick Lab product line comes with this standard set of bricks that's designed to serve a group of up to 30 students. And so the nice thing is that once you have that set, you can add a whole bunch of different curriculum titles to really get a lot of mileage out of that. So we know of teachers that are using their brick lab in their 15th or their 20th year, and it's all 100% reusable. You can even sanitize the bricks in the dishwasher. So, in terms of any consumables, you're really just getting one thing that you can use over a bunch of different years.
So the next one, still also falling under the enrichment camp programs, we have one centered around a particular theme, as you can see, all about the ocean. So we do have pirate camp, oceanic exploration, and survivor. Could you tell us a little bit about what makes these special, especially oceanic exploration, as you can see the little medal?
Yeah, so oceanic exploration was our third most popular enrichment program of the previous year, and we'll be
Mhm.
revealing number two and one later in the call. And this really arose out of we see some programs like to have a theme that applies to all the different grade levels. And so this was kind of a popular pairing of what that could look like for K through 8.
Tell us a little bit about the instructor guides.
Yeah, so these are really designed, like you said, that anybody who's walking in could open these up, read through, and have all the information they need to be successful without spending a huge amount of prep time on their own. So you can see here, there's also a standard look and feel. And so once you've gone through one, the idea is it's pretty easy to pick up a different program and jump right in.
Well, we're at a new kind of collection of items. This is all about artistic programs. So you're unleashing the artists. We have Unleash Your Wild Side, Traveling Artist, and Claymation. And it looks like we've highlighted Claymation. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, claymation was our second most popular enrichment program of the previous year, traveling artists being the true number one. And this one, like you said, the arts are just such a positive way to reach kids that maybe wouldn't traditionally see themselves as a STEM kid. And so, claymation is a great example of a really strong technology piece combined with an art piece.
And you were mentioning before that something really special about these is they all have a different approach using the arts as kind of this hook. Could you tell us about how that kind of differs between the three programs?
Yeah, so STEAM can mean so many different things, and we talk about this a lot at PCS. And so each of these does approach STEAM in a different way. That's true. So in Unleash, you're really using STEAM and art projects to look at different habitats and ecosystems around the world. So a fun way to learn these science concepts. In Traveling Artist, we take that same approach, but it has a really strong social studies component. So you're looking at different cultures and folk traditions from around the world. And then in traveling artists, like you said, you're really going deep, understanding how to use this technology that then opens up all these storytelling possibilities, kind of like with podcasting, like you said, for kids to really get to choose what kind of stories they want to tell.
So, on to kind of hidden gems. So, these may not be on your radar, but these are all high quality programs, and we've gotten so much positive feedback about this. Michelle, could you tell us about, what we're hearing from teachers?
Yeah, exactly like you said. These are some that not only are favorites for us internally, but we consistently get rave reviews from people saying this was such a good experience for my kids. They were going home and telling their parents every day everything they learned, or from the teacher side, this was one of my best experiences ever teaching in summer school. So these are ones that we wanted to highlight to a broader audience. And I thought you could start us out, Erica, since I know you worked really extensively on this first one here, the Brick Lab Steam Ventures food collection.
Oh, yeah, I completely loved it. I'm really glad that we got to work on this together as a team. So, it's similar to other Brick Lab products that you get to do these different step by step builds centered around a particular theme or topic. But you also get these great interactions with characters that go on a particular adventure to explore the topic.